So it's finally happened. All video cards on the market are officially priced higher than their original MSRP, including the once safe haven GT1030, which was a great video card for budget builders who wanted to build a brand new computer for a pretty cheap price or even breathe life into their older OEM desktop. Unfortunately, the card is no longer a safe haven. The once $70 video card is now at least $100 at most retailers. Fortunately, we still have an option left for budget builders out there, and it is this video card right here, the Corn GTX 750. I picked it up for about $67 on Newegg on sale, but it usually retails for $72 on the website. Now, don't let the brand name fool you. Even though it is a Chinese video card, and I have thoroughly gone into a lot of cheap Chinese video card scams out there, this one is a legitimate GTX 750 despite its origins, its manufacturing origin, and its weird name. Like always, the used market is a great alternative if that's available for you. If you can find a used video card for about $70 that can perform similarly to the GT1030 or better, then go for it. I'm just here to provide options, and that's the point of this video. The 750 is an awesome choice, specifically this one because it's a brand new video card, so it comes with a limited warranty, though you can extend it to 3 or 4 years. It's using a newer-ish architecture and it has similar efficiency ratings to the GT1030, which is awesome depending on exactly what you're using the video card for. The 750 and the 750 Ti are the only 700 series video cards that use Maxwell, a newer architecture that Pascal is derived from, instead of Kepler, an older architecture that doesn't have a lot of the features that Maxwell and Pascal have. This of course means that the 750 has a better chance of keeping up with new game development techniques than a Kepler video card, such as a GTX 660, for example, which is often recommended for this price range. Now, a very valid complaint that I got in my 780 versus 1050 Ti video that I made in November of last year was that while the 780 was more powerful than the 1050 Ti on average, it also consumed more than double the power of the 1050 Ti, which could of course make the whole more powerful part a moot point depending on what you're using the 1050 Ti for. Fortunately for us, we do not have that issue with the 750. The 1030 has a 30-watt TDP and does not use any external power connectors. The 750 has a 55-watt TDP and also does not use any external power connectors, meaning that it's already in the same league as the 1030 in terms of efficiency. I'll dive into performance a little bit later, but yeah, just keep that in mind. Neither of them require an external power connector. Although the TDP of the 750 is about double that of the 1030, it only consumes slightly more power than the 1030. And yeah, I know TDP does not equal power consumption, but it's something to note. Of course, the 750 does not come without its downfalls, and the biggest one, which you probably already noticed, is its VRAM, only 1 gig. While testing, I didn't experience any real issues that were explicitly because of the VRAM or lack thereof, but as more games start utilizing more GPU memory, even at 1080p, I can see how this can be an issue for some people. If you're only playing esport titles, then you should be okay, but if you want to play something bigger and grander, a huge AAA title such as Far Cry 5, which, if I recall correctly, uses at least 3 gigs of VRAM at 1080p on average, then you might want to reconsider. The Corn 750 also does not fit in all small form factor PCs. It's not a full-length card, it's only about 220 millimeters in length, so I could fit it in a cube case, a larger case such as my Cooler Master Elite 110, but if you want to use it in a smaller pre-built computer, you're probably not going to be able to fit it in there. Low-profile GTX 750s also don't seem to really be a thing, so for all you small form factor pre-built users out there, you might be SOL with this video card. In terms of the Corn GTX 750 specifically, it's a reference model with stock clocks. The generic cooler holds a single fan that adequately cools the video card, even with a hefty overclock. At stock, the specifications are as follows: a 1020 MHz core, 1085 boost, 1 gig of VRAM with a 128-bit bus, and an HDMI, DVI, and VGA output. After playing around in MSI Afterburner for about 30 minutes or so, I overclocked the 750 to a 1468 core clock and a 5710 effective memory clock. As far as 1030s go, I used the Phoenix Asus GT 1030. It has a very light factory overclock of about 2 to 3%, and its specifications are as follows: a 1278 core, 1531 boost, 2 gigs of VRAM with a 64-bit bus, and an HDMI and DVI output. I also overclocked the 1030 fairly well, achieving a 175 core offset and a 360 memory offset, identical to the 750's overclock. The overclocked GTX 750 peaked around 65 degrees Celsius, and the overclocked 1030 never went above 60, so they both ran pretty cool. The test system for the PC includes the Ryzen 5 2400G at 3.7 GHz, a dual-channel kit of 16 gigs of DDR4 memory clocked at 2933, a Seasonic Focus Gold 550-watt power supply, and a 1 terabyte 7200 RPM hard drive, and Windows 10 64-bit. I mostly focused on esports titles and popular games such as PUBG and Fortnite, and I threw in a few larger AAA titles as well. And without any further ado, here are the benchmarks.
In Overwatch, the stock GTX 750 handily defeated the stock and overclocked GT 1030, but both cards maintained at least 60 frames per second on average. The 750 truly spread its wings once overclocked, showing a 14% average performance increase in gameplay that more consistently stays around or above 60 frames per second. The tides turn a bit in PUBG. The stock GT 1030 handily beats the stock and overclocked GTX 750. Although the 750's stock performance is playable and enjoyable, an overclock to the video card allows it to run the game above 30 frames per second more consistently. The GT 1030 definitely felt smoother than the 750 in the game at both stock and overclocked frequencies. The differences between the two cards in Counter-Strike Go is only about 2% at their respective stock and overclocked frequencies. For all intents and purposes, they perform identically in the game and can maintain 100 frames per second on the lowest settings if the CPU allows. Similar to CSGO, the cards perform closely at stock, with the GT 1030 taking a slight lead in the 1% minimums in the game Fortnite. Once overclocked, the 750 pulls ahead and maintains an average of 60 frames per second, though the same 1% minimum as the overclocked GT 1030. The VRAM difference could also play a part here. Rainbow Six Siege gave one of the most interesting results. The GT 1030 is the clear winner on all fronts here, and I believe VRAM might be the culprit. The medium preset uses about 1.5 gigs of VRAM, more than what's available on the GTX 750. As a result, there is a larger than normal performance gap between the two, allowing the 1030 to pull ahead by up to 20%. The 750 takes back the crown in F1 2017. The two cars perform near identically at stock, but the 750 shines yet again once overclocked, averaging over 60 frames per second and staying above 50. Like CSGO, the two cards almost mirrored one another in Grand Theft Auto 5. The GTX 750 pulled slightly ahead once overclocked, offering 72 FPS to the GT 1030 70. That's not something you will notice while in-game, but for those who really care about the numbers, you will get about 3% better performance on the 750 in this title. Like I mentioned previously, the 750 has a 55-watt TDP and the 1030 has a 35-watt TDP, but they both pull around the same peak wattage. Be wary of the 137-watt peak power draw from the stock 750. It generally sat around 117 to 122 watts while testing. It seems like the 137 is more of an anomaly than anything else, and it doesn't properly reflect the average power draw of the video card.
From the looks of it, the GTX 750 is a healthy alternative to the 1030 if you can pick it up for about $70. It offers similar power draw to the 1030, slightly better performance, especially after overclocking, and it gives you a newer architecture which a lot of used cars on the market right now can't offer. Compromises include its lack of VRAM. 1GB is definitely pushing it nowadays at 1080p, and its larger form factor than the 1030. Besides that, I highly recommend it. Now, there are many other GTX 750s out there, specifically Chinese ones you can find on AliExpress and a few on eBay. I can't really vouch for them though. The only one that I can vouch for that is legitimate is the Corn GTX 750 that I picked up from Newegg. So if you're in the market and you want to make sure that it's a valid card, then that's the one that I recommend. Of course, I can always purchase these other ones from AliExpress and maybe do an eBay scam, a part 3 video, just to see if it's a valid card. But for now, get the one on Newegg. If you can't use Newegg because of your region, then you can try your luck with the other video cards, but again, I don't endorse it. If you're getting it through eBay, then you can always ask for your money back. eBay's really good with that, especially with this video card scams. If you're getting it from AliExpress, then I don't really know how their return and exchange policy works. So keep that in mind. If you guys found this video helpful, then leave a like, and if you disliked it, dislike it. If you loved it, share, subscribe, and all of that stuff. I will be reusing this video card again very soon, like probably in the next 2 videos or so, and I will be testing a newer game, Far Cry 5, which has been super hyped up and seems to be a pretty awesome game. So if you're interested in that, then make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss out on uploads. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.